creepy, and cool TikToks that will blow your mind. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
Check this out. You can play with the spot, but yeah, watch this. Just bring it over to us here. Isn't that crazy?
No way!
That's a startup called Reflect Orbital, and they allow you to order sunlight at night from your phone. The way it works is that they have a bunch of mirror satellites in space, and when you order light, they just redirect the light from the sun all the way down to your location on Earth. And it looks like this from your location. And I guess they use this to power solar farms at night, or you could maybe order it if you're lost in the forest. I feel like this video might be a fake demo. I mean, these guys had this video on YouTube 5 months ago where they did the same thing using mirrors and a balloon. But that's by far the craziest idea I've heard this year. It has to be illegal in some way, right? You can't just order sunlight on your friend's house at 3 a.m.
I ordered and paid, and it worked. Ordered at 2 a.m., and at 6 a.m., my whole city was lit up.
This is insane. A California startup is currently working on selling sunlight to people at night by using mirrors on satellites to reflect sun rays down to Earth. Just imagine it like Uber Eats for sunlight. By using their planned constellation of 57 small satellites orbiting Earth, let's say, hypothetically, it's midnight, but you want a tan in your back garden. You simply order 30 minutes of sunlight on the Reflect Orbital app, grab some sunscreen and a cold one, head outside, and then minutes later, you're cooking. Or, let's say you own a solar farm, but at night, you make no money. By ordering sunlight when it's dark, it would allow for endlessly available and sustainable power. The two founders of Reflect Orbital believe that sunlight is the new oil, and 1 year ago they completed their final on-Earth testing by successfully using their mirrors fitted onto a hot air balloon floating 1.7 miles above a solar panel. In space, however, that distance would need to be increased to 370 miles. But despite the large criticism and doubt around the idea, according to their website, a prototype of their light-reflecting satellites will make its way to orbit next year. And they've even opened up applications for sunlight to be delivered in Q4 2025 for a duration of 4 minutes and a diameter of 5 kilometers. So do not apply if you have neighbors.
Let nights be nights. I want to see stars.
Right. We're Tyler's California, baby. Welcome to California, where we house, where we cage up children.
Right.
My best friend got life at 15. That's fact. He's still in there. Sammy Espinosa. That's facts. That's facts, right?
Yep.
I fought a 35-year to life sentence at 20. My mind wasn't even developed to understand what that meant. Just you mesh and you're just like, what? What do you mean? I'm facing 35 years to life. I'm 20 years old. What do you mean? What do you mean? Oh yeah, okay. But we're men, and you harden up.
Right.
Ooh.
That's another thing that make it worse.
You better take that.
There's a saying, don't do the crime, you can't do the time. But sometimes I get it. It's a cycle and needs to be stopped.
We are on the verge of something significantly dangerous. A software sharing platform called GitHub had a creator release a program that allows for deep fake filters on live video. I remember watching Corridor Crew make a video about deepfakes and AI 5 years ago, and that needed to be done in post-production. This is on live video, Zoom, FaceTime, and so forth. This is something to be concerned about because this doesn't help or benefit anyone. Anyone for no reason other than to steal, to hack, or to be a general thief. We have small-scale versions of this that they've been testing on us through TikTok and Instagram and Snapchat, which are those face filters. There was apparently a major thing in Hong Kong recently where someone deep-faked a CFO and got them to send them $25 million, and they still haven't been caught. We need to start having conversations with our family about safe words or phrases to recognize each other, because now people can clone you with an image and 15 seconds of your voice.
Tech guys just love inventing the torment nexus.
You want to start? Go ahead. Before you... No, you're good. Just tell the truth. The real truth. What you seen. What you know. They got it on video.
They got it on video.
Tell the truth, dog.
Okay.
Not the other bullshit. Just tell the truth, dog. They got it on video. Remember when Mookie went live? They know that. They seen us at Slugger House. They seen us leave Slugger House. So basically,
we're trying to be real with you, okay? I told you it took a little while. And
If they're asking you to tell the truth, they ain't got evidence on you.
Buy 150,000 pills. I sell 2/3 of them. I got $1 million. Instead of paying the guy, I go to his competitor and I buy 30 keys with his money. You just want to get killed. As long as 2 get through, I double my money. And if all 3 get through, it's insane. And if 1 gets through, I'm going to break even. I fly to London. All of them land. I get a better price on the pills this time, right? I end up with, a little bit over 650,000 pills. Right. Put them all in boxes, drive from Amsterdam to Dusseldorf, Cologne, Bonn, Frankfurt. Now I've mapped out all the FedEx and DHL offices on that highway from when you come into Germany all the way down to Frankfurt. So there's 2 at each one of those cities.
Okay.
Drop all the pills off, fucking ship them, they all make it. So in the end, it took me 20 days. I went from 900,000 in debt to up $2 million.
There is no way. A video has been going viral today of an England fan apparently waking up at 4 a.m. in the morning, still in the now deserted stadium after their game against Serbia on Sunday night. Now I had to confirm whether this was real or not, so I managed to get the number of the person who originally posted the video, and he said that the man in the video was his friend and that it is, in fact, 100% real. And to be fair, he was in the same stadium that England played Serbia in, and temperatures in that city did get as low as around 12 degrees Celsius. And as for security and CCTV, his friend said that he's not sure how they missed him. But before speaking with him in detail, he suspects that he may have fallen asleep on the toilet after not being able to handle those German beers.
One of my mentors is Tillman Fertitta. He's a billionaire. He's worth $7 billion. He's on the floor. He's the richest man in Texas. He owns a basketball team, the Houston Rockets. He owns Golden Nugget. His nephews own the UFC. People say he can't make money in restaurants. He made $7 billion. But I asked him, what's your story? He said, well, about 20 years ago, I was making a little bit of money. I owed a big loan to one bank in Texas, and I couldn't pay him. They were going to take all my business because I couldn't pay him back. That bank just magically went bankrupt. And so in America, when a bank goes under, the U.S. government steps in to protect. They were so inefficient. You know how governments are inefficient and bureaucratic? They forgot that he owed them millions of dollars. It took them 5 years to remember that he owed them money. He said, and in that 5 years, he was able to get rich. But he said, if it wasn't for that luck, I would have never probably become a billionaire.
The Bible says on Proverbs 10:22, it is the Lord blessing that makes you wealthy. Hard work can make you no richer.
Some breaking news out of the tech world. So the CEO of the app Telegram was just arrested in France. If you're not familiar with Telegram, it's an end-to-end encrypted chat application. The idea is that you can talk to somebody else without Telegram being able to see or read your messages. And so it's used by a lot of important people like heads of states, ambassadors, people in war zones, journalists and their sources. And it has, I think, over 900 million users now. And because it's end-to-end encrypted and nobody else can read the messages in between, there's no moderation on the app at all. And the app also supports things like cryptocurrencies, so you can transact and send money to different people on the app. And due to the lack of moderation, countries like France had an arrest warrant out for him because they claimed that he allowed, or at least didn't disrupt, criminal activities from occurring on the app. And some of the reports are coming out saying that they might try him on things like terrorism and narcotics and money laundering and a lot of other different crimes, because all of that happened on the Telegram platform, which he created and he's the CEO of, and because he didn't enforce any of these moderation tools, that he might be responsible for those. And this might be familiar if you remember the Silk Road, which was an online marketplace for selling pharmaceuticals. And so when Ross Ulbricht, who is the founder of that, got arrested in 2013, he was also charged with a lot of these crimes, but he also committed a lot of crimes on his own. And this situation is really just one of many situations like it that all come down to the Section 230 ruling. And the Section 230 ruling protects platforms like Meta, like Google, potentially like Telegram, at least in the US, from being held liable about what its users publish on the platform. But he wasn't arrested in the US, and he was arrested in France and the EU, where they have a different set of laws, and they're a lot stricter with moderation and frankly holding companies and platforms responsible for what happens on those platforms. So on one side of the argument, people say, well, moderation is a good thing, and these platforms should be held responsible and accountable for what people do on their platform and what they talk about. But in order for that to happen, these companies would then have to intercept, decrypt, and read every single message that goes through their platform. Which leads to the other side of the argument where users say, we deserve a right to privacy. We don't want somebody else reading all of our messages. Because in that case, well, what happens if that platform or that company gets subpoenaed by the government? They have to turn over all their messages, and that government all of a sudden decides to politically prosecute maybe some of its enemies because those messages were on the platform. And so this can turn into a really slippery slope, and it's a complicated argument, and it's one that's been going on for a long time. And so I'm curious to see what he ends up getting charged with and ultimately what ends up happening. I'll keep you guys updated as these things unfold.
So is the phone company responsible for what it says on calls?
If you're smart, you better learn to be humble, and you better learn to be grateful for the fact that you've been gifted, and you better take that on as a serious responsibility, like a serious moral responsibility. Because if you don't, it will work against you. If you're super smart and your intellect is working against you, you are in serious trouble.
You need to be humble, period. And it's very attractive trait.
16-year-old revolutionized the trucking industry. Meet Harshita Arora, co-founder of the startup Adobe. Born in Saharanpur, Uttar Pradesh, Harshita developed a deep interest in learning how designing works inspired by her computer science teacher. Dropping out of school at 16, she moved to the U.S. to pursue her passion for technology and entrepreneurship. In 2017, she founded the popular crypto price tracker, which became the #2 paid app in the finance category of the App Store. In 2019, Arora co-founded Adobe to simplify transportation management for businesses. The company, which now stands at a net worth of $800 million, modernized payments infrastructure for logistics and transportation. ATOB attracted funding from investors like Bloomberg Beta and Naval Ravikant. Aurora's journey, marked by early success, technical skills, and entrepreneurial drive, has made her a rising star in the tech industry.
Amazing. Well done.
See, Young Thug had a problem. His problem's this guy. This guy is literally the problem. Meet Lil Woody. Basically the main reason Young Thug's on trial in the first place, but he's also the main reason Young Thug might get freed. You need to listen. Young Thug on trial for being the leader of a gang. He said, "I'm not the leader of a gang." Police said, "Well, that's funny, because we just ran into one of your little friends, Lil Woody, and that boy started singing like Beyonce." Young Thug's lawyer said, "Okay, he could just be talking. That don't mean Young Thug's part of a..." Gunna said Young Thug's group is a gang. Young Thug's lawyer said, Gunna said gang, 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 gang. Gunna, along with like 8 other people, came out and said this to reduce their sentences. Which brings us back to Lil Woody. Remember, he sparked this whole thing. Now it's confirmed that Young Thug's group is a gang. All Woody has to do is bring it home. But it turns out Lil Woody's difficult. Listen to how he answers the first question he's asked.
How old are you?
Grown.
Okay, what does grown mean?
I'm an adult.
And it just gets worse from here, from not answering questions to firing his lawyer in the middle of trial.
She fat.
But here's where things start to get wicked. He's being difficult, so they stop. They come back, and he's a lot less difficult. Remarkably so. Come to find out that the judge and the prosecutors had a secret meeting with Woody. Why is it a secret meeting, you ask? Well, because in court, everyone has to know everything, meaning Young Thug's lawyer, the prosecutors, and the judge need to have meetings together. Because now how do I know the judge and the prosecutor aren't being fair to me? And it's because of this the judge gets removed from the trial. Because it's assumed that the judge and the prosecutors kind of force Woody to talk. But here's the craziest part. Remember, after that meeting, I told you he was more cooperative. That doesn't mean he said what they wanted to hear. In fact, he said the opposite. He said he made everything up. But he can't get in trouble for that because they gave him immunity, meaning he can say whatever he wants and not get arrested for it. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean the trial is over because the story is a lot deeper and crazier than that, but I don't make longer videos. Psych, stupid, I do make longer videos. They right there, they on that site. Take the bio, stop playing.
Woody was playing chess and the prosecution showed up with a checkerboard.
Did you know she was prophesied to not get in the White House? Watch this.
Gold, stone, California, a smaller statue. And God says, once you recognize the man that I have raised up, pray. For the enemy will do everything in his power to put a witch in the White House. Did anybody hear what he just said? For Jezebel has chased away the prophets and even Elijah. Come on. Now I have said, go back. For this shall be dismantled, so that there will be no more corruption in the White House, says the Spirit.
For more truth and Jesus content like this, follow or subscribe now.
They're all predicting different things. You know, Celeste says the opposite.
There was a bank that went out of business. We took over the lease from the owner of the building, and we wanted to turn it into a jewelry store. The township didn't like that because we were all over TikTok. So I think that maybe they just don't want the trap. I don't really know what their problem is.
I think it's intimidating, honestly. I think that's all it is.
You know what it is? It's they don't understand social media. So I think that they think it's going to be a lot bigger deal than it will be, but we're going to stay respectful.
But they sold it to you.
The owner of the bank leased it out to us.
Yeah.
We wanted that bank because there's a vault in there,
Yeah.
and it's right on Route 9, and there's a huge sign, 56,000 cars pass it per day. The problem was that it was zoned in as a bank. You know, we're going back and forth with the township. Hopefully everything will go well. In the next couple months, we'll have a definitive answer as to whether or not we're inside the bank as, you know, fully operational retail business.
How do you take over a lease without knowing whether you can operate your business there?
The way the business works is you get the venues and they pay you by the night. So, you know, I had nightclubs, I had a bunch of restaurants, I had like 7 venues at a time. But the real money was like these private parties, you know, these mansions that would pay you $2,000 to send 4 or 5 guys out for the night. And what I would do is when somebody wanted a private party, I would do a site inspection, and that means I'm going to send a guy out, or I'm going to go out myself, or I'm going to send a guy, and I'm going to say, hey, where are we going to park the cars? How many people are going to be there? Where are they going to go? And really what I'm doing is just sizing up the house.
All right.
You know, if you're Donovan Davis and you got a Rolls Royce, a Lamborghini, 10 other cars, and whatever, it's not going to be the same as when Johnny graduates from high school and your parents live in a 3-bedroom house.
Right.
Like, you know, I was making so much money that I could tell the nicer people or the more humble people, you know, yeah, $500 or $600, and I'll get some guys out here, and we'll make sure that the graduation goes off well. But if you're showing me your Lamborghini, and that's not to say I ripped you off, Donovan. I'm not saying that. I gave you good service. I still love you.
Yeah, but if you have an 8-car garage.
If you've got an 8-car garage with, and then in marble where cars were missing, there would be like a BMW logo. And I said, do you jackhammer this up every time you buy a new car? And he goes, I try to keep up on it.
No, this is not just a flower, but one we will all need to eat by 2025 or we will not make it. People were shocked after several Asian doctors found a life-altering miracle flower in Hawaii that was hidden from us for years. And when given to patients, were not only able to fight life-ending diseases, but it increased their lifespan by several decades. One patient ate this flower every day, and they noticed it not only made them physically younger, but eerie documents showed it rewind the internal biological clock, making it possible to extend their life indefinitely. The National Library of Medicine even shockingly labels it as a cure-all, as it has the ability to even aid a cure for Alzheimer's disease, help aid diabetes, liver disease, heart problems, and many more.
There you go.
Many were terrified at what the government might do to this flower, as it will be the cure for many modern diseases, or will it soon be stripped from us entirely. But the benefits of drinking or eating the hibiscus flower on a regular basis are definitely widely documented, but they must be paired with diet, exercise, and medication.
That flower goes everywhere in my area.
Go up to the teller, I need $29,000. She's like, oh, okay, go sit over there. So I go sit in like the manager's office or something, right? Little cubicle. Manager comes over and says, hey, I understand you're trying to cash this check. I'm like, right. He said, why don't you just deposit in your own bank? I went, well, my bank's in Florida and they're going to hold it for like 10 days and I need the cash because he's like, well, what are you doing with the cash? I go, well, I own a construction company.
Yeah.
I have a perfect story.
Yeah.
I own a construction company and we cash, you know, we have a lot of, you know, migrants and stuff and basically, labor, like Mexican laborers and stuff. They don't have bank accounts. I said, so I cash their checks for them. And I said, because I know the checks are good because it's my company.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, that makes sense. And he's like, okay.
You're good at this, man.
And he turns around and he leaves. And then at some point the phone rings and I look at the phone and I don't recognize the number. So I pick up the phone. I'm like, hello? And the person says, hi, Mr. Shanahan. Remember I refinanced Michael Shanahan's house.
Yeah.
Hi, Mr. Shanahan. This is Kimberly from SunTrust Bank. We have someone in here trying to cash a large check that was written on a title company account from a refinance you did. Just wondering if you could verify like the payee and the amount. And he's like, yeah, that should be Scott Cugno. And so I say that should be Scott Cugno.
Yep.
I believe it's for $29,000. And she's like, oh, okay. And keep in mind, I'm looking around like Kimberly's in the bank somewhere. Hang up the phone. 5 minutes later, the manager and this chick comes out, walks up to me, and he says, Mr. Cugno, I have your money. And he starts counting out the $29,000. He counts it out twice.
Yep.
And she's standing there. And I'm assuming this might be Kimberly, although she never talked it, and I'm like, and he counts it out and he goes, okay. And I remember I pick it up and I remember I'm shoving it in my pockets. Like, I look like, you just look like a scoundrel.
Yeah.
Shoving, like, get up, and I'm starting to walk off. And he says, Mr. Cugno? And I said, yes, sir. And he goes, I'd like to mention something. He said, I feel very apprehensive about this transaction. And I go, really? And I go, what is it exactly? And he goes, I can't put my finger on it. And I go, it'll come to you.
I just feel like it's none of the bank business what you're going to do with your money.
No way. Wow. So he doesn't turn his Lambo on because it's so loud so it doesn't disrupt his neighbors? He's probably the only guy in the world that would do that.
Yeah.
Freaking A, good for this guy.
He probably did it for one TikTok video, and the next morning he just cold started.
This is scary. Did you hear about what happened to Matthew Perry, the actor from the sitcom Friends? He tragically passed away by drowning in his own jacuzzi. Some people are questioning the true cause of his death, as they aren't sure if it's legit or not, because of a few odd details. For example, on the same night he passed away, he posted a picture of himself in that very jacuzzi on Instagram. What's even more crazy about it is that just before his death, he actually posted a Batman signal on his social media account on Instagram. His last video posted also showed someone dropping 3 cranberries on a table. Here's where it gets even scarier. There was a band called the Cranberries, and their lead singer also drowned. To add to the mystery, in a book Matthew Perry wrote, he mentioned that if he ever threw out the Batman symbol, it meant he was in trouble. This has led some people to believe there could be something more sinister at play, perhaps even a ritual or sacrifice. What do you think really happened?
Since 1955, McDonald's has proudly advertised 247 billion burgers sold worldwide. That's an impressive number. What's interesting about these numbers is in 2022, they did a clock on cows globally. We only had 1 million globally, approximately. Where we getting all this beef?
Lanes. There's only one lane? What happened to the other lane?
Y'all dumb. Because you're about to get congestion pricing too. LA, you know these cameras are coming. Only reason why she hasn't flipped the switch and turned these things on, they're doing all the roads. Double bike lanes, taking the bus lane and moving it out a lane. So our 4 lanes of traffic went down to 3. The same that's happening to you. So they're just setting it up for you. They even put cameras on our buses. They give people tickets when they parked in the bus lane, but we just smartened up and parked in that bus lane and popped our trunks. Now you can't even see our license plate. Security guards at the gate, inside the subway, kids go under and adults go over. Checking tickets on the bus, we know every route and stop you at. You only on the select, never on the local. She don't get, we're not gonna pay. So the people with cars, they going after, cause they're scrambling to make money cause nobody's renting office space no more. This ain't the 90s, we don't commute.
Even Mayor Adams said New York would never return to normal because thousands of illegals requesting travel vouchers to NYC.
Police chase drunk Amish man in horse carriage failing to stop.
Hey! Hey! Wake up! Sitting in there and he passed clean out.
That's what he did to me.
He'll go home. The horse knows how to get home. Get in front of him and slow down.
421. Go ahead, 21. And you're getting check out?
Leave the horses alone.
We might have it stopped. Nope.
Why?
Disregard. He just rammed it into my car.
Hey! Stop your horse! Stop your horse! Stop your horse!
You're gonna shoot the...
Get your horse!
That's where you guys go.
Grab your horse.
We're just coming to help.
Okay, grab the horse so it doesn't do any more damage, please. It's rammed it into my car already. Watch yourself. He's coming around to grab him. I don't want him backing up and...
Go ahead.
All right, get him over here. How old are you?
I'm 21.
21.
We have
Well,
buggy stop.
for right now, until I can determine on who you are, let me see your hand. I'm going to detain you.
All right.
All right?
Yep.
I saw...
Bleeding from the back. Bleeding? Yeah.
Where?
You felt hard on the buggy. I did.
All right. Come on. Right there. No, leave him right there.
Move your car forward.
No, just hang on.
Yeah, hit your car more. Just saying.
Just hold him. Don't let him move.
You know, I got my
463-243. Repeating, Victor Adam 463-243.
Good boy.
Sometimes you can't control it. Not when you're sleeping. Was he sleeping?
Oh, he's passed out cold. We're running the siren. I'm banging on the side of the buggy.
There's beer in there.
He's drunk as shit. There's beer still in there.
I didn't know. I wasn't home. I didn't know he was doing any of this.
He was stopped. He hasn't moved. I pulled mine up.
It's all over the back.
Oh shit, maybe puke. I don't know. And I started walking around the corner of the car to grab the reins, and that's when he fucking took off.
Dude, I would have stopped here, man.
You couldn't catch him. Every time you get beside of him, he'd freaking speed up.
He technically isn't driving. The horses were driving him home.
This woman was sentenced to life without parole after killing a man during an attempted citizen's arrest. The incident happened when 62-year-old Kenneth Herring ran a red light in May 2019 and caused a minor collision. Kenneth was displaying symptoms of a diabetic shock, and after staying at the scene for around 20 minutes, he drove off. Hannah Payne, who was not involved in the crash, was at the scene and was on the phone to a 911 dispatcher, realized that no one had taken Kenneth's information or license plate number, so she got in her car and decided to pursue him. The 911 dispatcher told her not to pursue Kenneth, but she ignored this order. In her attempt to make a citizen's arrest and stop Kenneth from escaping, she cut him off, got out of her car, and shot him, which unfortunately killed him. The Georgia woman claimed she never intended to shoot Kenneth, but had only wanted to take down his license plate number. In court, she said she was acting in self-defense and that Kenneth had tried to attack her. However, witnesses said this was not the case and Hannah was the aggressor. She was emotional during the sentencing as she was found guilty of felony murder, malice murder, aggravated assault, false imprisonment, and 3 charges of weapons possession during a crime. She received a life sentence without the possibility of parole. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Was the sentence fair?
Is a citizen's arrest even a real thing?
As you can see, people are carrying whatever they can gather, whatever they can walk out with. Here we have the army.
The army?
And they've obviously rescued, we're from CNN. They've rescued these families, these women and children are aboard the boat. There is such an acute shortage of boats. On the way up on the highway, it was truck after truck carrying boats. We understand at the Feni hospital that the water is chin high, so we don't know what the state of the situation is there for the patients. Everything is underwater, and Bangladesh is no stranger to floods. It in fact has one of the best early warning systems in South Asia, but there was no warning in this case.
Praying for Bangladesh. Please stay safe.
Trump said if he becomes president, he's going to release the classified documents. I don't think that's going to happen. Those classified documents are going to tell you what I'm telling you now, and the government does not want the world to know that a sitting president was able to be assassinated by the mob.
The government wants to make sure that people know
They
that
don't
they
want
have the
people to
most
know
power.
it. It's a slap in the face to CIA, Secret Service, everybody. The CIA, they came to us 3 times. They came to Luciano in the war effort when they needed the troops to come into Sicily, and he opened it up for them. That's one. Came to us for the Kennedy assassination. assassination, and they came to us when they wanted to assassinate Fidel Castro. They had the whole plot. They were going to poison him. Didn't work, but they definitely came to us. They'll do whatever they got to do with whoever they got to do.
Americans' people isn't corrupt, only the government and organizations.
Two major industries in America are going down right now as we speak. Two major industries that are a telltale sign of the things to come for this country are having some extreme difficulties right now. Do you know what those industries are? Fast food. Americans cannot afford fast food anymore.
What?
They're maxed out on credit cards, which is what they were using to purchase that food. So now we are seeing the lines around America at these fast food establishments empty. McDonald's sales are plummeting, as you see on the screen right now, to where they are running in circles trying to figure out a way to get you back to McDonald's. But not only that, today we are hearing that car dealerships around the country still have brand new 2023 vehicles on their lot that they are trying to get rid of. The crazy part is that inventory, brand new 2023 vehicles sitting on their lot. They also still have brand new 2024s. Lots are full that they can't get rid of. And then they have the new vehicles for 2025 arriving right now at their dealerships when they have a backlog of vehicles they couldn't get rid of since 2023, and people's cars being repossessed because they can't afford their car payments. Dealerships will close. Fast food establishments will close in America, in your neighborhood, all because inflation is so high and people can't afford to frequent or do business with these establishments anymore in America. This is crazy. I'm out.
Maybe because the prices have become astronomical.
This kid was suspended from school after posting this picture. A high school student in Mississippi named Bruce was suspended after posting this picture. In the picture, he showed a hand signal of the number 3. From what looked like a harmless photo, later turned around and cost him his future. He was a member of the high school football team, and he claimed that he was just showing the number 3 because of his jersey. But soon after, someone sent the picture to the principal, and the principal called Bruce into the office. The principal showed him the photo and told him he was suspended because he was holding up gang signs. Bruce was very confused and told the principal that he was actually holding up his jersey number 3. However, the principal did not listen to him and told him that he was suspended. When the whole school heard about Bruce's suspension, they decided to gather around in a photo holding up the number 3. They told the principal that he would have to suspend all of them if they were going to suspend Bruce. All of his friends had his back, but Bruce was still suspended. Bruce's parents decided to sue the school for thinking that Bruce was holding up gang signs. After winning the lawsuit, Bruce was rewarded $100,000 as settlement.
Thank God for his friends. But the principal is crazy. What is a gang sign that the principal knows about? Check the background of the principal.
Turning 15 grand into 60,000 every 3 weeks. He buys a kilo of Coke and he grams it out. He puts 10 grams of Coke in. He doesn't sell 8 balls. He doesn't sell 2. He sells 1 gram. You want 3 grams? You buy 3 grams at the price, right? He sells them for $60, puts them in little bags. He doesn't cut it. So every little bag has a little like fish scaly, pearly looking rock. He takes 10 grams with him. When he's done with those deliveries, he comes back home, gets 10 more, drives around in his Porsche, does his thing. The police end up coming to raid his house. The police raid his house. Well, he lit his balcony. You can see the pool. He has 2 keys there. He gets them while they're banging on the door, and he throws them. They missed the pool by this much. By literally, they're right on the edge. So on the edge that Simon said when the cops came in and looked, they started laughing at him, right? Like it was hilarious, because if it hits the pool, you're dead. You got nothing. So anyway, they lock him up.
This man was sentenced to 6 life sentences, plus an additional 762 years,
What?
and he is back in court facing more charges. Darrell Brooks was originally arrested on domestic abuse charges after being accused of punching his then-girlfriend in the face and striking her with his SUV. He was given bond, however, he was then rearrested for witness intimidation, as he allegedly tried to manipulate the victim into not cooperating with prosecutors. Again, he was released on bond. 3 weeks later, Brooks drove his SUV through the Waukesha Christmas Parade in November 2021. He killed 6 people and injured dozens more in a tragic incident. He was arrested and placed into custody. A year later, he was sentenced to 6 life sentences plus an additional 762 years. He is now in court facing the original domestic abuse charges. He has pleaded no contest to these charges and was wheeled into court in a wheelchair for unknown reasons. What do you think about this? Comment down below.
The people who release him on bond should be sentenced as well. What a failure system.
When I told my mama that I had cured my 13 AIDS patient, she said, "They gonna get you, they gonna get you." I said, "But Mom, why they gonna get me?" Because you must remember that you live in a society that supports a certain philosophy and a certain system. You being the color that you are, black, and then you going against the grain, they're gonna get you.
They did get him. Rest in peace, Dr. Sebi.
Yeah. I've never recovered from finding out that the food pyramid was a scam.
Yeah.
That was just the degree to which that's a scam is, I don't know. Is there a worse medical crime in history than that?
Oh, I mean, telling Americans to load up on 7 to 11 servings of grains every single day.
And to find out that that was a marketing ploy by the Department of Agriculture and that they went against the advice even of their own consultants who warned them that they would produce an epidemic of obesity and diabetes, which is, well, and not to say nothing of depression and dementia, which is exactly what we have now.
Exactly.
It's like, I don't know what you even do when you find out that that's true.
And the unwarranted demonization of natural fat-containing foods, nutrient-dense foods like animal-source foods, which continue to be
even by the American Diabetic is it Association Society? I don't remember which one is still pushing the notion that, diabetics can eat carbohydrates. Like, actually, I don't think so. I don't think that's a very good idea.
Meat, pork, poultry, fish, rice, water. That's it.
Find somebody that was either the founder or CEO, and they would get 6 million shares. The stock was given to them at no cost. Opens up at $15 out of the IPO. The next day it goes to 100.
Right.
So now they got $60 million. But DLJ had a special program. We're going to loan you up to 35% with a unwritten quid pro quo. We're going to give you, say, $50 million. You're going to take that money, do whatever the hell you want with it, but you're going to leave at least $10 million behind for Bob to spin around and make money on. Okay. And I had 6 guys like that. My best friend had a private jet. We're jetting all over the world. We're making money hand over fist. It was crazy. May 9th, 2000 is the peak of NASDAQ, 5,000. And from that day, for the next 4 years.
The bubble burst?
The bubble burst, and just slowly. So here's what happens. It's a $100 stock on May 9th. That summer, it's down to $50. Well, so it's cut in half, but hey, I still got, $300 million. I still have an outstanding balance. I can't sell the stock. I'm not worried. But then the stock starts going to 30, to 20, to 15. Now, all of a sudden, the loan value is equal to the stock value. Still can't sell it. Then the stock goes down. Now the stock's at $5. As soon as the stock hits $5, it's no longer a marginable security, New York Stock Exchange rules, and we sell them out into a market that's already declining. That $5 share gets sold for $2. So he owes us $50 million. We sell his 6 million shares for $2. He owes us $38 million. Call it in, pal.
Right.
Well, he's got a mansion he's building that he can't sell. He's got a plane. He's got a Ferrari, and he's got a stripper girlfriend with big tits. None of which he can monetize. So I was upside down about $12 million. Credit Suisse says, "Good news and bad news, Bob. You're fired. The $12 million, we're wiping it away. oh, meet Mr. Kushner. He's your new lawyer. He's a $500 an hour. He's going to defend you and all, because of course everybody, sued.
It's not their fault. It's your fault.
Yeah, so we're going to arbitration. It took 3.5 years for these 6 things to play out. We won them all. And they flew me around first class, put me up at the Mandarin or the Four Seasons, paid this $500 an hour lawyer, forgave my $12 million. But I went from the White House to the outhouse. I had no money.
I swing trade Forex only because it's hard to manipulate. Their circulation is $6.6 trillion a day.
Homeless in America.
It's 2:30 in the morning, and I don't feel like getting into why I'm sleeping in a parking lot. But I do know that you're usually allowed to sleep in a Walmart parking lot. So I came to this Walmart parking lot, and there is a hotel. And with empty parking spots. Crazy. And that car, and that car, and that car, and every car that you can see, and 1 or 2 through there. Every single one of those cars has got somebody sleeping in it. Because a woman came over when I pulled up and asked me if I needed something because I had to do something to my truck. And she asked me if I needed anything, if I needed a flashlight, if she could help me in any way. Her name's Susie. She's super sweet. And I said, no, thanks. And I looked around and I asked, I said, can I sleep in this parking lot? And she's like, yeah. And that's when she told me, she said, every single one of these cars has someone sleeping in it. That green truck right there, he's here every night. I'm here every night, she said. There's a blue truck here with a trailer on it. In the greatest nation on earth, there are people, and they're nice. Some of them are nice cars. My truck is a decent truck. Shiny, clean. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15-ish cars. And there's like 3 dozen empty parking spots in the hotel next door. Yeah. But the economy's great. Fucking great.
Sad. I never knew people sleeping in the car. God have mercy on you. All my heart goes out, especially for the women and children.
Canadian man was just scanning for free sports channels when he accidentally landed on North Korean state TV. And what happened next is wild. They sneakily watch the Premier League. Now, thinking he might get shut out, he quickly began recording the bizarre content playing. And he said once he started watching, he couldn't stop. Sounds about right. He then began uploading tens of hours of it to his YouTube channel for everyone else to watch. Bro was just trying to watch some free Olympics, but ended up feeding unseen North Korean TV to the entire world. Now, as for what programs they play, overnight is dead. It's just these colored bars. But every day, the morning broadcast begins at 8 a.m. sharp with the national anthem and glory songs to former leaders. And for the rest of the day, it's kind of mostly stuff you'd imagine. Just hours upon hours of songs celebrating the country's greatness, stuff about wars, burning the American flag, and Kim Jong-un getting oiled up. Getting embroiled in conversations about the country's oil reserves. But there are some haymakers in there, like cartoons for children, and even a couple of movies scattered throughout the week, which genuinely look like it was made 50 years ago. No idea what the plotline is, but at the end, their coal mine gets blown up, and boy, Marvel has competition. Oh, and another thing I didn't expect, they play Premier League highlights. No idea how they got the rights for that, but what are they going to do? Tell them to stop? Oh, it does look like they're still on last season as well.
I wonder if I have North Korea channels on my PTV. Let me check. Just kidding.
Crazy thing happened yesterday in the Eastern Cape in South Africa. A meteor was seen going over Jeffreys Bay in the middle of the day, and it was very close to the ground because residents reported feeling vibrations, seeing flashes of light, as well as hearing a loud explosion as it hit the ocean. They apparently first thought it was a bomb. There were even some locals who posted pictures online of allegedly picking up pieces of the meteor which fell to the ground as it was breaking up in the sky. Meanwhile, there have also been quake warnings issued to South Africa. What is going on with our crazy weather at the moment?
It is sentencing day for a teenager who police say raped a woman on her way to work and live streamed the whole thing.
Terry Berger Smith, now 17 years old, will be in prison until he is nearly 60. He was just 14 years old when he committed the brutal of a 21-year-old woman. A judge sentencing him to 41 and a quarter years in prison and probation for the rest of his life once he gets out. His defense attorney requested what's called a downward departure so that the judge could perhaps consider a lower sentence than what the state guidelines would suggest. They cited age as a factor. Smith himself, who said he was sorry and wanted to make something of his life. The judge, however, said that the facts of the case were just too much to overcome.
The defense seeks a downward departure in the juvenile sanctions. Certainly the age would qualify it, but the facts of this case do not justify it.
He beat her, threatened her, forced her into sex, even FaceTimed a friend while he was doing it, and also filmed parts of the attack. He did take an open plea, which meant that he pled guilty to the crimes that he was accused of and left that sentence open for the judge to determine. Again, more than 41 years in prison for this teenager. He has 30 days to appeal.
People saying that's too much need to be investigated as well.
Getting weird. Part infinity. This is not a doo-doo video. But it is some bullshit.
And lawmakers in the Assembly revived a controversial bill. If this one was passed, it would allow some convicted felons to petition for early release if they've been in prison for 25 years or since 1990, even if they committed murder. SB 94 allows for the resentencing of those serving life without parole. Felons who are either serial killers or who have killed law enforcement officers would be excluded from this. Now, opponents have warned that this could result in the release of dozens of violent criminals. Supporters say that this would not guarantee release, but create a process for those who were tried under different state laws decades ago. The bill was nearly through the legislative process until it was stalled out last year. It is now eligible for a vote on the Assembly floor.
California knows how to...
Oh, in Cali?
California knows how to... Listen, first instinct, some motherfucking bullshit. And the part that made me like go, huh? Was the part about like, oh, you killed the police officer. You're never getting out. Oh, you killed the citizen? You raped a citizen? You did all crazy things to a citizen? I mean, we can think about it. What the fuck? That's like looking at the victims and being like, oh, this person took your family's life? This is a little bit too progressive for me. Come on now. What are we doing? You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that you can't, you know, get better in prison or whatever the case may be. I'm just saying, life without parole, you did some shit. This ain't, you know what I'm saying? This ain't, you ain't commit regular crimes. You committed crimes. You feel me? I don't know. My gut instinct says, hell no.
It's almost like the justice system over there isn't meant to punish criminals anymore.
Hello.
You all right?
Me? Yeah, why wouldn't I be fine? I'm just checking on this lady, making sure she's okay.
She's okay.
Because you said so?
Because she's part of our program.
Why is she sitting outside with all of her stuff then?
Because she chose to be there.
So she's not part of the program.
Not really, it's not business.
It is my business.
No,
what do you mean?
Sir, it's not your business. Who
are you to tell me what my business is, sir? I don't care. I'm on a public sidewalk. I can do whatever I want out here.
You want.
And I'm gonna. Okay, it is my business.
Why don't you just call the police?
Call them. Go ahead. I haven't done anything, sir.
No, I'm asking you to leave.
I'm on a public sidewalk. Okay, so call them and they'll educate you, sir.
Sir, I don't need to be educated.
You obviously do if you think you can make me leave the sidewalk because your feelings are hurt, because you're a Karen. Perception House, and what do?
They lock the food up in the cabinets. We gotta eat 3 meals a day. We have to sneak food upstairs, and I got all of my hand is swollen. They wouldn't
That's
let me go to the hospital.
They wouldn't let you get medical care?
I had to go, and when the ambulance came, the cops didn't come with them. They would
Do you need a cigarette or anything?
No, I don't smoke
Okay.
anymore. I quit.
Okay,
everything.
just checking.
And thank you, though. And,
Absolutely.
They
This is Karen, guys.
He's videoing the house. Yeah, he can.
Yeah, tell him. Thank you. I told you the cop would show up and educate you.
I need bail.
And she needs her belongings. I'll give her a ride, but she needs her belongings.
my stuff. She only has a phone, Danny. No, and I got pills.
And the pills. She needs her medications. If I'm going to give her a ride, this dude needs to hand her stuff over.
You want medicine inside?
So they stole from her.
No, they
Can we get a report then?
Can you go get my stuff?
Well, if not, can we get a report written that they're stealing her stuff? Shepard.
She said once he's giving me a ride. He's giving me. No, can you go get your car?
Go get the pump.
Okay, so
No, we gotta. My car's down there. I will give her a ride, but she needs her stuff. They can't hold her stuff and tell her we're gonna hold your stuff till you get a ride. She's no longer part of this program. So then, can you write charges that he stole her property?
I'm getting my stuff.
It is him.
No, I'm getting my
Refusing to give her property when she's no longer part of the program. That's stealing. And I just got here, and he's refusing to give her stuff. But the lady up the street does.
Just go get my pills and my candy and my medicine. And they're supposed to call Bayo for me. I cannot be out here. And I got heart attacks. And I be having a heart attack.
I'm going to get her a ride. I don't have a license right now, so I got to work around that. But I'll get her a ride.
I need my pills.
But I'm not going to go get her a ride and then wait for this lady to show up a half hour later because this should have been done. Thank you.
Thank you for standing up for her. And why the police officer didn't get out of the car? Okay, the following clip is disturbing.
He was the one that first tried to kiss 12-year-old Jocelyn. These are the latest details of the confession of these two and now has been released to the public. Peña Ramos says that it was Rangel Martinez, the one that got on top of Jocelyn and tied her up, hands and feet. Peña Ramos also says that it was Rangel Martinez who took Jocelyn's clothes off. He also says that it was him that threw the body over the creek. During interrogation, it was discovered that Rangel Martinez is the one that had bite marks and scratches on his arms. And this is a detail that no mother wants to hear. Jocelyn Nungaray had scratches on her back, meaning her body was dragged by these two when they were bringing her to dump her into the creek. This case does not qualify for the death penalty in Texas yet, but rest assured, Texas is working overtime because if it's discovered that these two essay that child, kidnapped her, and then murdered her, these two are dead. Because there's one thing you don't do in the state of Texas. You don't commit capital murder. But wait, that's not all. Rangel Martinez, 21, has 2 children and a family in Houston, Texas. He petitioned the judge through his defense attorney that his bail amount would be set lower because he has a family and he doesn't want to be away from his children. The judge's response? No, you get $10 million as well. These two are about to get a crash course on what it's like to mix with Texas.
The nerve of him not wanting to be away from his kids. What about Jocelyn? There's no coming back for her poor mama.
Allegations are that you had a girlfriend and that you punched her 3 times when she told you to exit. Not only that, but the cops said that they saw bruises on her left eye, they saw blood all over her face. What I want to tell you is there's no cameras in this shit, right? Nobody's recording this, right? Right, to your recollection, nobody's recording it. There's no other witnesses, right? It's her word against your word, right? Okay, so you know what really happened? She attacked you. She's being accused of theft.
30.
You know, Jayoma may be able to free Didi.
$5,000 a month. That was my stipend. But that's a lot of money. And he said I could spend it however I wanted. I would have diamonds. I had over $500,000 in jewelry. Furs, I had 26 fur coats.
For someone who had never owned anything worth more than $10, suddenly having tens of thousands each month ignited an insatiable desire in Celeste. However, Stephen Beard began noticing her spending habits. And 2 years later, he started tightening control over her expenses.
She was burning through it. And when he tried to get her to see, she rebelled against that.
And she decided that if he was going to put limits on it, he had to die.
What?
Which is just absolutely insane.
In 1999, a 911 call was made, and when the police arrived, they found a crime scene that resembled a robbery. Furniture was overturned, drawers were open, and Stephen was bleeding profusely from his abdomen, with Celeste right by his side.
It's really hard when you don't set boundaries in the beginnings. Once someone is used to spend money, it's hard to tighten up the budget.
10 years in prison, been out a few years, and women stink.
So that's my friend Jen. She did 10 years in prison in the state of Florida. Tell me why she used those emojis, though. Now, I myself have never been in a women's prison. Shocking, I know. But I had this one CO that was going out on work crews with us who came from the women's prison, and he would always tell us these horror stories. He first showed up when we went on our first day's work with this dude, and he told us he had just come from the women's prison. We were like, oh, you must have screwed up to get sent over here with us. And he was like, no, I wanted to be here so bad. That's saying something because dudes' prisons don't smell good. But he said that the smell in the women's prison was so bad it made him want to quit. Especially and particularly 2 different times a month, because one thing about women, if you put them in a big group, their cycles are going to sync. So twice a month, you will have large congregations of women who are all bleeding, and they don't give them proper products to deal with that. And all of those things are just going in a trash can that don't even got a lid on it. But that's not those women's fault. That's just a biological reality.
I got to a point where it's like the lenders would say, look, this person doesn't have a great credit. And the issue with them is that we're afraid they're not going to be able to make the payment if something goes wrong. They barely have enough money to pay the down payment. And they would say, we really want them to have reserves, like 6 months worth of reserves, which means if they lost their job, they could still make all the payments. Yeah. And then they're like, so I'm sorry, we're going to turn it down. You know, they would say, we're sorry, I'm going to turn it down. I go, whoa, wait a minute. What do you mean he's got like 30 grand in the bank? What are you talking about? And they go, Matt, he's got like $8,000. I go, what account do you have? Oh. And they go, oh, Bank of America. And I go, oh, no. Oh, I didn't send you Ebor, Bank of Ebor. I can get you 3 months bank statements right now. Yeah. And I'll send them over. He's got over 30 grand. We didn't send you that? Tracy! You know, yeah. And of course, there is no Bank of Ebor. It's actually just a website that I made. Yep. But you could call it. It had a phone number. Somebody would answer. And I even had bank statements. So I had bank statements for that one. I had another one called Southern Exchange Bank. So I can verify your down payment. I can verify your reserves. I can verify employment. I can verify anything I want.
Imagine if he put all this intelligence and effort into something legitimate.
The grandma shoe in Key Foods. The Haitian father New York hat. The birthday party in front of the projects. The Alliance security guard shoe. The he live in the shelter socks. They're really good socks though. The Chinatown visor. New Yorkers don't really wear Timbs no more. We all got flat feet. Old heads are gonna buy the ACGs and wear them to work. Every project got a Puerto Rican Chihuahua in it. Everybody in the Bronx dream is to move to PA. Every female in New York has borrowed something from this Target makeup aisle. People that collect cans gotta lock up their shopping carts. We even had to lock up these. The city just gave us new trash bins, and they're already taking them. No good Puerto Rican spots no more. The Dominicans took over.
I like Timberlands.
My dad got sick. My dad got cancer. When he first got sick, he goes, hey, my dad was a dude. He goes, look, I'll fight this one time. Okay, I'll do your little chemo and your surgery, but I'm not going to pour poison into my body. I'm not going to lose my hair. I'm not going to deteriorate. I'll give this thing a shot once. If it doesn't work, I'm out. That led to 8 years of him fighting it. Wow. Chemo, radiation, proton therapy, surgery, chemo, experimental chemo, and he did lose his hair, and he was in pain. And I'd say to my dad, I say, Dad, you're suffering so much. He said you wouldn't suffer. He said, no, Eddie, I'm in pain, but I'm not suffering. I choose not to suffer. And I'm not suffering because I get to see my grandkids again. And I said, Dad, why are you doing this? And he said, you only understand the power of one day when you're threatened with never having another one. And I'll do anything for one more day. Wow. Get to be with you one more time. Give your mom a kiss one more time. Maybe I'll see one of my granddaughters get married. And he goes, I'll do anything for one more day.
Wow, you have an awesome dad.
Anthony McGregor dared to compare his watch to that of Cristiano Ronaldo. He said the price of his watch could double the price of Cristiano Ronaldo, but he didn't know that he shouldn't even dare. What really happened between this man and Cristiano Ronaldo left the world speechless. This is the first time that Cristiano Ronaldo entered into a duel for a story outside of the football context. Here's what really happened, I'll tell you. He is Conor Anthony McGregor, an Irish mixed martial artist. The two global superstars sat side by side to watch Anthony Joshua and Diamante Wilder in a boxing match in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia last December. During the event, the UFC star was seen speaking with the soccer legend. When Conor spotted Cristiano's watch, he put his arm next to his to compare them. On his wrist, McGregor wore a Chopard tourbillon in white gold, set with 300 baguette-cut diamonds on an alligator strap limited to 25 pieces, for approximately $250,000. While Cristiano, who was a little embarrassed, showed his Hublot Spirit of Big Bang King gold rainbow in rose gold, with 210 colored stones on an alligator strap.
He showed up to like a high-level jiu-jitsu competition. No ground experience other than like, we teach it at my academy.
Yeah, we're going to shrimp.
Yeah. Fucking dude showed up and was like, I'm a black belt in either karate or taekwondo. And he's like, I demand to be in the black belt division. And they're like, fuck it, fine. They put him in with Andre Galvo, who was like
world
literally the best black belt in the world for like 15 years straight. Fucking dude realizes like 30 seconds in, oh, this guy knows nothing. And literally gets to the point that he could finish him, stands up, pushes him over, gets up, and just humiliates him for like 8 minutes straight.
Lonely 82-year-old goes over to new neighbor's house, but little did they know what was coming next. Shireen was 32 years old with 5 kids when she moved from Texas to Rhode Island. But there was one neighbor in particular that would catch Shireen's eye. He was an 82-year-old man named Paul. Paul had recently lost his wife and took a liking to Shireen. His wife had died 6 months before the Callahans had moved in. He had no friends and nobody to talk to, and he was the last of his siblings alive. Paul was extremely lonely. Shortly after meeting the Callahans, they had learned that Paul was lonely and had been recently widowed. They then invited Paul to dinner. He was welcomed with open arms by their kids. The kids run up to him like it's your grandfather. Every single day after that, Paul was welcome to have dinner with them and would sit down and talk to them for hours. Paul said that the energy of their family and kids reminded him of his wife. Touched by his good words, Paul was then adopted by the Callahans. The kids then began to call Paul Uncle Paul and was welcome for dinner anytime.
Expecting a totally different outcome with that beginning.
Wake up the next day and you see the local prisoners and you're in hell. That's what it felt like. In hell.
Ooh,
and it was day one. We came across Iranian drug dealers, meth dealers, Nigerian gangbangers, Sri Lankan Tamil tigers. We were in like a little yard with singles, like separate cells. So it was like sometimes 3 to a cell. I was in a 4 to a cell. I think the cell was probably about 8 by 10. So a little hole on the floor.
Yeah.
And 2 sheets, and it was just horrible. We were there for about 5.5 to 6 months.
Ooh.
And we were practically nearly dead. The food was rotten. It was done by cats, eaten by rats, just dumped on the floor. There was days where we had to kick up a massive stink just to get food. We had to be on top of our hygiene because sickness and diarrhea will in their country easy come. Food poisoning can easily. So when we got our vegetables, we had to wash them and wash them again. And you see rats scurrying around. The rats in the prison were the size of the cats. Honestly.
Can't think of a worse place to be than an Indian jail.
Massive tension between the United States and China over Cambodia. This is because China is building a giant canal in Cambodia, which has angered the United States and Vietnam. US is angry because US does not want China to build massive infrastructure in Cambodia, because then Cambodia will be beholden to China instead of the United States. And Vietnam is mad because it will lose revenue from Cambodia. Now that Cambodia has their own canal, they don't need to rely on Vietnam's ports anymore. And since Vietnam is aligned with the US, it cannot ask China to come and build a large-scale infrastructure such as the canal in their country because, of course, it will anger the United States. And the United States sure as hell is not going to build any large infrastructure in Vietnam. Chinese analyst Yin MR suggests that when China and Cambodia were planning to build this canal, China already had intelligence in advance that showed that the United States is trying to drum up a color revolution in Cambodia to destroy the building of this canal, and the United States would use the excuse of environmental harm that would come out of making this canal, but of course it didn't work.
Hi fam. I'm kind of feeling skibbity, so I've got off my get to come up to rizz up McChicken, please. IRL. Thanks. That sounds Sigma. It's just vibe check. I'm thirsty, so maybe. Do you have a medium lemonade? Oh, that sounds bussin'.
Sounds bussin'.
Do you have the Sunday? Oh, if you have the Sunday, I will hit the gritty. No cap. Oh, my daughters are shook. Don't be salty. Yeah. Oof.
Okay.
Weird flex. Small, but great. Thanks. No, it's all good. Yeet.
Dad, come on. Hey, question. Why are they embarrassed if that's how they actually talk? Can someone explain? I don't understand. All right, folks. Thank you for staying till the end. Be kind to each other. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And don't forget to like or dislike so I can make a better content. There's a free gift below. And if you want to buy me coffee or support me through Patreon, the links are in the description below. Have a prosperous day and God bless.